Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
I don't even want to do the regular open because Jordan Kitchens just said the dumbest thing that has ever been uttered in this studio. That's remarkable. Jordan Kitchens just said Patrick Mahomes is an underdog compared to Baker Mayfield. Don't let me put words in your mouth. That's what you just said? That's what you just said.
To an extent.
No.
To an extent.
Paul, you were sitting in the room. You heard what he just said.
Yes.
Did he just say Patrick Mahomes is an underdog compared to Baker Mayfield?
He did, yes. I had the context.
Bro, case in point why not everybody needs a microphone.
We need context.
I want you to turn off your mic, go sit in a corner and face the wall for 10 minutes. That is unbelievable,
I need some
Jordan.
context. There was context. There was context to what I said. There was context.
You just said Patrick Mahomes is an underdog compared to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. But Baker was the number one pick. Mahomes was like the 11th pick. So, I mean, Baker
Patrick
Mayfield.
Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls and played in 6. What the hell are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about coming into the NFL.
I'm not talking about coming into the NFL. I'm
that's
talking
what I
about
was
right now
saying.
because you just said about going into this year. Turn the stupid music off.
Okay.
You just said because we're listening to the Sports Center top of the hour. They played a quote from Baker where he's talking about them being an underdog and kind of overlooked this year. Like, he's coming off injury. They slumped at the second half of last year. That's what he's talking about. There's no reality where you can say in any sense that Patrick Mahomes is an underdog compared to Baker Mayfield. What are you talking about? Sometimes hot takes for the sake of having hot takes ain't a good thing, Jordan.
All I was saying was.
I said go stand in the corner and face the wall.
I just want to get for the people. The conversation was, Baker Mayfield came on the air. Oh, yeah, we got the chip on our shoulder this year. I'm like, all right, you know what?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Chip on the show. I just said that, Jordan.
Yeah, you're right. And I was like, you know what? I'm tired of the underdog gimmick from the number one pick. And he was like, oh.
And I said Jamarcus was the number 1 pick and Zach Wilson was the number 2 pick. And sometimes, it doesn't matter where you drafted, you suck for a little while, and then people count you out.
Man.
Mitchell Trubisky. Was he number 2 or number 3 pick in the draft? When
You drafted way too high. I think it was like number 2 because it was before Deshaun Watson and Mahomes.
How's Pelican Scoop going?
Matter of fact, last video, 1,000 views.
That'd be.
Rolling.
Go follow Jordan Pelican Scoop on YouTube. All right. Where you'll get hot takes like Patrick Mahomes is an underdog compared to Baker. Just stand against the wall. I told you to go
My
stand against the wall.
My mic's off.
Stand against the wall. Jesus. I don't even know how to recover from that. That's one of the and T-Bob sat in this studio. And I still think that's the dumbest thing that's ever been said in this studio. Man's won 3 Super Bowls, played in 6 of them, and George saying he's an underdog compared to Baker. Okay. Yes, you did. Chris Hummer and John Talty at CBS Sports put together a list. They polled 50-plus industry insiders, GMs, player personnel directors, coaches, etc., to put together a list of the most expensive rosters in college football. And a lot of it is kind of what you would expect. Now, what I thought was really interesting is they have LSU at the top. Now, that really is should be no surprise. And I told you when Chris was here, and I told him point blank that this LSU roster, a lot of people said $40 million. This LSU roster is over $50 million. And it will be the first $50 million roster in college football, according to Chris. But the way that they sort of broke it down was into buckets. So, like, it was rosters over $40 million is the first sort of bucket that they put in. And naturally, LSU was in there. But here's what was interesting, what I found. There was 7 teams that they have spending more than $40 million. And another 5 that are just a tick below it, is kind of how he described it. The 7 spending more than $40 million this year. LSU, Miami, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, and Texas A&M. Those are the 7. Like, just a tick below that, Georgia, Michigan, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Southern Cal. So those are the 12. This is the part that I think is interesting because LSU is the outlier on this list in this way. Preseason number 1's Ohio State. They're on the list. Preseason number 2 is Oregon. They're on the list, above $40 million. Number 3 is Georgia, and they're the first team listed as just below $40 million. So they're right there on the cusp, but they're there. Number 4 is Notre Dame. They're on the list. Number 5 is Texas. They're on the list. Number 6 is Indiana, who's not on the list. Number 7 is Miami, on the list. Number 8, Texas A&M. They're on the list. So Indiana, not making the list at preseason number 6 in the country and not on this list, is a bit of an outlier. The other is LSU, because LSU is the lowest ranked team on the list of the most expensive rosters. And they're not only on the list, they're at the top of the list of the most expensive rosters. Yet of that list, they're the lowest ranked teams by the pollsters. So it kind of begs the question, why? And I don't know that I have a great answer to that question, because LSU a year ago proved just throwing money at a roster doesn't mean you're going to win. Because LSU spent $18 million on the roster last year. And you could say, well, 18 is not 50. I get it. But 18 a year ago put LSU among the most expensive rosters in college football a year ago. But what you keep seeing year over year is like 100% increases in roster spend. So that's when people keep saying it's not sustainable. Well, I agree. Like, LSU's not going to spend $100 million next year. You're not going to see another 100% increase. But as I look at the roster spend in the rank, it's true you could spend a lot of money, but when Patrick Payton and Jack Pyburn and Jamari Butler combine for single-digit sacks, and that's where you put a lot of money in edge rushers, that's a problem, right? Now you hit, clearly, on Mansour Delane. But you spent a lot of money on Nick Anderson and Barron Brown, and those guys, Barron Brown was your leading receiver, but your passing offense was not any good. You understand the point, is that you spent a lot of money, but you misevaluated. So you have to spend the money and evaluate correctly. So when I look at some of LSU's biggest ticket items, by the way, they say the biggest price tag was Jordan Seaton. Now, I don't know if that's true, because I think Sam Levitt actually, the way that I understand Levitt's contract is structured, will be more than Jordan Seaton if he plays the full season. I think there are some protections, as I understand it, in Levitt's contract to where, like, if he does get hurt and doesn't play a full season, the number may be lower. But if Levitt plays a full season, I think he will be the biggest price tag on the roster. Seaton right there. And then you have other seven-figure players. Prince Willem Miel, and I think it's been reported is right at $1 million maybe. But you can understand why, if you get 3 of the top 5 ranked players in the portal, and it's a quarterback, an edge rusher, and a left tackle, those are going to be really expensive guys. So I don't worry as much about LSU this year missing on some of those portal players, because you're getting guys that have already produced and are proven to have produced at the highest level. So I look at this and I just say, man, if you look at the odds makers, like DraftKings has LSU with the 8th best national championship odds. FPI has LSU ranked preseason number 9. SP Plus has LSU preseason number 10. The AP has them 11. The coaches have them 13. And so if you're tap dancing right around that 9 through 13 range, but you spent the most on your roster, like even in that 8, 9, 10, 11 range, take the coaches out who have them 13, even in that 8, 9, 10, 11 range, you're still one of the top 12 teams in the country, means you're in the playoff. So I understand that when we look at Vegas projected win totals, over, under 8.5, whatever, that's not going to get you in the playoff. And I understand also that Lane Kiffin at times in this offseason has tried to temper expectations in year one. What I'm saying is there ain't no tempering expectations. Like, all the other teams on this list, we all expect come December, they're going to hear their name called to be in the playoffs. Now, I get it. Miami plays in a crappy league, and they're going to run away with a crappy league, and they're going to make it. And Notre Dame plays a laughable schedule, and they're probably going to go 11-1 or 12-0, and they're going to make it. But Ohio State and Oregon and Texas A&M, all those teams expect to be in the college football playoff again. And then that next tier, Georgia, Michigan, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Southern Cal, they're all spending like they expect to be there as well. And LSU has outspent all of them. And you got the number one quarterback in the portal and the number one left tackle, and you got the number one edge rusher, and then you retained your top-tier tight end, running back, cornerback, center, senior linebacker. You brought in the SEC's leading tackler. You brought in a potential All-American at safety. Like, I don't care what your schedule looks like. There is no excuse with this roster spend and with relative to the other programs that have spent accordingly, as you have, there's no excuse not to be in the playoff this year, in a 12-team playoff. Now, I'm not saying you got to win the national championship because, as I'll continue to say and will always say, your draw matters. 2 years ago, Oregon was the only undefeated team in college football. They beat Ohio State in the regular season. And then they drew Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, and Ohio State got another swing at them. Sound familiar, LSU fans? It sucks, but that's the way the draw went. And they lost. So I'm not going to predict a championship because it's impossible to do that without knowing what your playoff draw looks like. I mean, what if LSU makes the playoff as a 10 seed, but then has to go play in the snow at Ohio State in the first round? Or in the snow in South Bend in December when it's 4 degrees. Like, that's a really crappy draw. Now, what if you had to go play a first-round game against Miami down in Coral Gables? Okay, that doesn't seem as bad. Miami's got a really good roster, but I'd rather play a game in Miami than in South Bend in December. I just think that's got to be the expectation. It's got to be. Like, you spend $50 million on the roster. You spend $91 million on your coach. You give him every single resource and staff that he wants. You better be one of the 12 teams that hears their name called in December. All right, it's after further review. Agree, disagree? Let me know your thoughts. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. Jim Wardworth and the gang do a great job, man. You can always get that free quote online, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage. They'll give you a ring. They'll let you know what it'll cost. It's cost-effective. It's effective. It's efficient as well. They can fog your home in half a day. Standard-size home, they can fog your home in half a day. They'll come in. They have the Sprinter vans with, like, the hoses that are coiled in the van. So they open up the back, they pull the hose out, they just walk right through your home and then spray the fog. It's a fog. It gets into every nook and cranny. It touches everything. They close up the windows and the doors. They let it dwell. It kills everything down to the spores. And boom, as soon as the fog dissipates, you're back in free, clear, clean, smelling. And remember, it's patented non-toxic dry fog. Non-toxic meaning it's safe for your family, for your pets, for your plants. And it's a dry fog. So you don't have to, like, worry about it damaging your furniture, your carpet, or you're not cutting sheetrock or anything like that. You want to get rid of mold? You want Parish Restoration. parishrestoration.com. All right, it's after further review. LSU will hit the practice field coming up here in right in about an hour. Media does have access and availability here this evening to the workout for our customary, 2 or 3 periods, whatever it'll be. So I'll jet out of here and head over to the Ponderosa. We'll see what Lane Kiffin squad is working on, whatever they let us see. And then I will get you a Locked On LSU practice report after, and we'll have it up at LouisianaSports.net as well. So make sure you read LouisianaSports.net. And if you wouldn't mind, I appreciate it. Go subscribe to the Locked On LSU podcast or YouTube. I appreciate it. All right, let me knock out a quick break. One other quick note. I'm keeping an eye on anything that might come out of California with the Saints joint practices right now with the Cowboys out in Oxnard. So if we get anything while we're on air, we'll certainly pass it along to you. One thing Lane Kiffin talked about a day ago when he met with reporters that we didn't get a chance to get to yesterday is the third phase. And we haven't talked really much at all about special teams, but I'm going to do it next and why that's another reason you should be optimistic about this season. Stay here at AFR.
After further review.
Want to feel your best? Our friends at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. I practice what I preach. Like, I take peptides, and they have been transformational for me. NAD Plus is something that is part of my daily regimen. You want to talk about basically at the cellular level, making your body younger and increasing energy levels. Learn more about NAD Plus and what that can mean for you. I do an injection of NAD Plus every single morning. I tell you about BPC 157. I had my appendectomy 2 Fridays ago. I inject my BPC 157 muscle tissue repair near the site of my incisions to help accelerate recovery. I practice what I preach, y'all. Hormone replacement therapy, it's been transformative. It can help you as well. Call Gabe. Go schedule your consult over there at Goodwood. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, Jimmy will be here in about 25 minutes for Auto Locks. They're posted right now over at LouisianaSports.net if you want to get them. Remember, everything always free at LouisianaSports.net. Thanks for reading, man. And everyone who's bookmarked it and gone to the site. Traffic has been awesome. We just keep raising the floor, and it's been something that we're really proud of, and we hope that you're enjoying all the content over at LouisianaSports.net. We have spent a lot of time talking about how we anticipate Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weis improving the LSU offense. And we have spent a lot of time talking about how important it was for Blake Baker and that defensive staff to be retained and the guys they've added on defense as well. We have spent virtually no time talking about special teams. And part of it is because we don't get to see special teams, like, at all. In the practice availability that we have, there was even a day last week where because we have such a limited viewing period, 12, 15 minutes, it's all individual drills, and the defense is, they're hitting sleds and, running around cones, and they're not doing football stuff. And if Hunt's over there charting quarterback and receiver pitch and catch throws, well, I'm like, well, it was one day I'm gonna go watch specialists. I'm going to go chart field goals and PATs for the 15 minutes that we get. So I'll walk over to the far field, and the kickers have the ball, not on a tee, the ball just like on the ground, just flat on the ground, and they're doing leg swipes. Like they're doing their leg swing motion, but they're not actually kicking the ball. I'm like, I think Lane Kiffin is just trolling us. Like, he is hell-bent on us seeing nothing for the 12 minutes we're out there. So we have talked no special teams. I could go through my notes and tell you who was back there in the spring returning kicks and punts. Certainly believe Scott Starzik, the Arkansas transfer, is going to be your place kicker. And Grant Chadwick, the Middle Tennessee transfer, is going to be your punter. Like, that's done. Returners, again, like, it's a little ambiguous. We'll see how it all shakes out. But Lane Kiffin was asked when he met with reporters after Monday's practice about special teams and the opportunities there for guys. And he was also asked about starters participating in special teams as well.
Yeah, all starters are available. We always look at, what's the difference between them and the next guy. Because ideally you'd like it not to be, so you create more roles and less play counts come off. And also part of punt is having a great gunner, which we did last year. We played a receiver that was lights out at gunner that forced a lot of fair catches. So it all goes together. We just always kind of look outside the box for ideas.
At the risk of getting you really excited about special teams, I'm going to share something with you that I found today that many of you might have seen, but I found it today, and it's got me really encouraged. So when Brian Kelly showed up in Baton Rouge, we all know this. Like, one of the biggest mistakes he made was not retaining Greg McMahon. It was a cataclysmic failure on special teams. There's a special teams efficiency metric. Just think like take all of the special teams units, throw it in a pot, stir it up, spit out a number to say how good you were collectively in all the special teams units, that's special teams efficiency ranking. Just trust me, it's something people use. In Brian Kelly's first year, LSU was 122nd in the country in special teams efficiency. Remember Greg Clayton just fair catching everything because he was the only guy that could catch the ball? They never even attempted to return a punt. They went from 122 to 75th to 37th to last year LSU was 28th. So to Kelly's credit, it was a disaster initially, but they kept putting more emphasis on it. They got better. So it went from 122 to 75 to 37 to 28 last year. SP Plus is a metric that I like to look at. And it looks at returning production, who you added, all that sort of stuff. And so they give you an offensive rating, a defensive rating, and a special teams rating. Well, SP Plus has LSU going into this season, into 2026, 53rd in special teams. 5-3, 53rd. And I get it, right? You're losing the leading scorer in program history in Damian Ramos. You're going to have a new kicker in Scott Starzik. You brought in a new punter in Chadwick. We have you're losing all of your returners from a year ago. So you have a lot of new there. You want to take a guess what team SP Plus has ranked number 1 in the country going into this season in special teams? You want to guess? Jordan, you want to guess?
Ohio State.
No, this is a leading question, okay?
Okay. Georgia. Oh, I don't know what that means.
What a leading question means?
Yeah.
It means I'm leading you to a very obvious answer.
Oh, LSU.
I just said they're 53rd, Jordan.
Oh, well,
Stop it. Go away. Paul, if I were to tell you there's a team that's number 1 in the country this year, preseason, SP Plus, and special teams efficiency, who do you think that might be? It would be really relevant to LSU considering who their coach is right now.
Ole Miss?
Ole Miss. Thank you. Woo! Gents. Yes, Ole Miss. Ole Miss's special teams efficiency ranking last season was 5th. They were 5th in the country in special teams efficiency ranking. And SP Plus has them number 1 preseason right now. Do you know who Ole Miss's special teams coordinator was last season? I'm not going to ask you, Jordan, because I know you don't know the answer. It's okay. You can take a breath. It's Joe Houston. Do you know who LSU's special teams coordinator is now, Jordan?
Joe Houston.
It is Joe Houston. Hot damn. A point is, and by the way, I'll tell you this, I don't mind sharing this with you candidly. At the LSU NIL gala they had a few months back at the indoor facility, Erica and I went, and they sat us at a table with several of the coaches. I literally sat next to Joe Houston at this event and talked to him for an hour or whatever. Joe Houston, he's got an amazing story, first of all, of how he was working in JUCO and delivering pizzas to make ends meet. You want to talk about a dude who wants it badly. Fast forward, he ends up getting hired by Bill Belichick with the Patriots, okay? Brilliant dude, great coach, and clearly the track record is there now. He'd worked with Saban in Alabama, worked with Belichick with the Patriots, and Lane hired him at Ole Miss. And the numbers are very obvious. That guy is now your special teams coordinator. I don't know who's going to return kicks and punts. Quite honestly, I don't care. What I know is if Joe Houston's running your special teams, you're going to be good on special teams. And SP Plus has LSU 53rd in the country in special teams at the beginning of the season here. I'm going to go ahead and take a wild guess as to say they're going to finish a hell of a lot better than that. We talk a lot about offense and defense. We have not talked a lot about special teams because we don't get to see it. I'm just here to tell you, LSU's got a special teams ace coaching that third phase. The same guys that went in the portal and got Chadwick and got Scott Starzik, got Hayden Craig. I mean, now I know Houston was at Florida. Joe Houston spent time in Florida. So, and forgive me, Joe Houston was at Florida last year. I screwed that up. My bad. Sorry, Jordan. That's a hell of a leading question. But you got a dude that is a really, really good special teams coordinator who's got track record of being a special teams coordinator that I think is going to make LSU instantly better than they were a year ago in that third phase. So I'm excited to see, man. Of course, they brought in Hayden Craig. They brought in the long snapper, the punter as well from Florida with Joe Houston. The people they brought in, I think, are going to make that third phase of the game so much better. All right, it's after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. We're glad you're hanging out. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, our buddy Ross Jackson is out in Oxnard at Saints practice, and he is tweeting a few updates. So we'll get to that as we continue. Thanks for hanging out with us here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon. Get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Remember, the Get Gordon Billboard contest is going on right now. Go to getgordon.com/billboards, 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 and you can figure out how you can enter to win up to $2,000 in prizes. There's kids division. There's an adult division. Remember, no AI. They could disqualify you. They reserve the right to disqualify you if you use AI. But you can go enter right now to get all the info at getgordon.com/billboards, getgordon.com/billboards for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorney, their billboard design contest. Went up to $2,000 in prizes. And by the way, if you win, your billboard will be on the interstate somewhere. GetGordon.com/billboards. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks in 10 minutes. Good news from out at Saints practice. Ross Jackson, our guy from LouisianaSports.net, Locked on Saints, is out there. He did. I don't know if this is the great news. He did notice that practice is out of hand, approaching 10 fights and/or scuffles already. This is part of what happened. We had John Stinchcomb with us here yesterday, and I asked him why. And I'm like, why are there so many fights all the time at joint practices? And John's answer, I'll paraphrase, was, look, if you're practicing against your team and a guy's hand gets high in a face mask, you take him aside and you're like, hey, man, don't do that. When it's someone on another team and they do it to your teammate, you go after him, and then it gets contentious. So, like, you're just not going to be as aggressive with your teammates as you would an opponent. So it's pretty natural that this is what happens a lot of times. But Ross noted, I mean, his tweet is, this practice is, I'm reading directly, this practice is out of hand, approaching 10 fights and/or scuffles already. That's not the key. Here is the key. A few notes from Ross. Devon Vele and Christian Miller are both there in Oxnard, but are not in uniform, so they're not participating. This, though, I think, is maybe the fantastic news. Ross Jackson notes that Kendre Miller and Devin Neal are in pads and both doing individual drills earlier. Audric Estime not participating. It is worth noting that Audric Estime played in the game on Saturday, so if you want to give Audric Estime a day off, some time to recover, okay. But we're looking at Kendre Miller as a former third-round pick and a guy that is trying to make this team and is probably swimming upstream right now to try to make the team. From the fact that you know that Travis Etienne Jr. is making the team, Alvin Kamara is making the team, and then, like, who's that third back? Well, Audric Estime has been really good, and Devin Neal used a draft pick on him. And if Kendre Miller misses more of camp with the back injury, like, I I mean, what's the old line? You can't make the club from the tub. How do you make the team if you're not out there? So Kendre Miller being back out there today might just be a sign of him needing to be out there trying to make this team. A couple of other notes here from Ross, just reading through his tweets. He said Terrell Burgess is making his return as well. Lots of injury news for New Orleans for their joint practice against the Cowboys. So go follow along with Ross on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Ross is with us all throughout camp to give us the Saints training camp updates. But because they started practice at 4 Central, they're not going to be off the practice field before we're done today. So we'll hopefully get a report from Ross tomorrow, maybe before the Saints workout tomorrow out in California. Remember, of course, you can go listen to Ross or watch him on Locked On Saints, and you can read Ross for free over at louisianasports.net. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthfarmcredit.com. Firstsouthfarmcredit.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Remember, at First South Farm Credit, they also offer the patronage refund. That's something they've done every year for 3 decades, where it's effectively they're sharing their profits with their member borrowers, so that effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. Like, let's say you got it at a 5% rate. When you get your patronage refund, it's like you were actually borrowing at, say, 4%. So anyway, it's something you can ask about when you call our friends at First South Farm Credit. But another reason to do business with a great local company that's been around for more than 100 years doing one thing, helping Louisianians buy land. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthFarmCredit.com. 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 Brian Chaufan said, did y'all fire Musso? No, we did not fire Musso. Jordan is filling in today. Musso went to the beach, so he'll be back tomorrow. I don't know, man. Going on a beach vacation in fall camp feels like a little bit of an aggressive play, but
extremely aggressive, actually.
Guy wanted to get one more little vacation in, I guess, before the season. But I mean,
no, it's extremely aggressive. And then to post the pictures at the beach, like, come on, man.
Well, if you're going to go to the beach, you're going to post the picture. That's the obligatory thing, right? You do the whole thing where it's the photo of your feet and like your drink.
Nice little drink.
And the water's in the distance. You get the sand, the drink, and the water. It's never a face photo, right? It's just it's just the drink, and for me, it's like a cigar and the drink. And
look what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. The obligatory, if you need me, don't.
Yeah.
You know, that's great in July.
Not in August.
Or June. August 18th? It's a tough scene for a guy. But no, he did not get fired. He's just, he's at the beach. And Andy said, please, God, don't let this be the Malik Neighbors punt returner jinx from 2022. So first of all, I don't believe in jinxes at all. Jinxes are not a real thing. But we did talk about, if what he's referring to is before that season, like LSU, I remember it well. Like, I did a whole thing where I was like, congratulations to Malik Neighbors on being the next great punt returner or return man in LSU history. Because if you go all the way back to Eddie Kennison, or even before that, like with Todd Kinchin, like LSU's just always had a great athlete that catches the ball and runs. And you could go through it from Eddie Kennison to Kevin Falk to, just go through LeBrandon Tofield or Dominic Davis and Skylar Green and, just all the way through the years, man. Chad Jones, Odell Beckham. I'm leaving guys, Tyron. They've just always had guys that could, it's LSU, man. Athlete, catch ball, and run. And so Malik was the guy that was going to be the punt returner. We know he muffed 2 against Florida State in that opener and never returned another punt again for his time at LSU. And so that's who he's referring to as the jinx. I don't think it's a jinx. I don't believe in jinxes. I just think Malik wasn't good at it, at catching the ball. That's why they put Gregory Clayton back there, because he was a guy who could just catch. They just said, hey, just fair catch, just catch the ball, that's it, and let the offense take over. But I'll tell you, one of the guys that it was interesting to watch in the spring, I can't give you a perspective now because we haven't seen it at all, like zero special teams in what we get to watch. But I would love to see Trey Wilson back there. The Florida transfer is a former 5-star, and I think they're going to use him in a lot of creative ways in this offense. Like if it's jet sweeps, bubbles, whatever, like, because he is that dynamic, explosive guy, like get the ball in space type guy. he just has a different gear than it's very obvious. Like you don't need to know anything about football. Like you can just go out and watch and go, oh, well, that guy just runs different than everybody else. He's just explode. That's why he's a 5-star. But when they would put him back there in the spring, I mean, I remember one day in particular where he muffed 3 straight punts. And like, you just can't be back there if you can't catch the ball every time. It's more important to just catch the ball and give your offense a chance, especially when your offense is as explosive as we think this offense will be with Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss, et cetera, than to run the risk of muffing it. So I don't know, man. I don't know who's going to be back there. But if I can get an answer, I'll try to for you. All right, it's after further review. Good show today. We got Jimmy coming up for Otter Locks. If you missed anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We did talk a little bit about what the Saints receiving room looks like now without Jordan Tyson for the next 5 weeks, next 2 months. Shea Dixon was here. Talked a little recruiting with Shea, as we always do. Chris Hummer was here in hour number 2 from CBS Sports. Talked about he and John Talty put together a list. They pulled some 50 front office, staff, coach, player, personnel people trying to get a sense of roster investments, the most expensive rosters in college football. Really interesting conversation. We reacted to that as well earlier this hour. We talked some special teams. I totally screwed up. Kept saying Joe Houston was coaching at Ole Miss. He wasn't coaching at Florida last year. But Ole Miss's special teams last year were ranked number 5 in the efficiency rating, and Florida was 17. I just looked it up. And Ole Miss on the SP Plus heading into this year is number 1 in the efficiency rating. So I think LSU is going to be just fine in the third phase as well. But they got to find someone who can return. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us. One more, Michael on the text line said, Matt, from a comparison standpoint, what did Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss squad look like in salary or NIL spending last year? Well, this is the first $50 million roster anywhere. And a year ago, LSU spent 18. Now, I don't know what Ole Miss's total roster spend was a year ago. It was probably comparable to that. Ohio State last year, the word was like they had the highest roster spend as they had nudged past $20 million on their roster a year ago. But it's why, so I mean, think Ole Miss was probably comparable to LSU a season ago. 15, 18 million is probably in that range. But it goes to show you why, man, having the right quarterback, healthy quarterback, makes a world of difference, man. You know, they had Austin Simmons, who got hurt. Trinidad Chambliss stepped in. Kaboom. But the other thing, too, man, like, it's just the thing. I know we talk about it a bunch, y'all, but it's just the thing that's so impressive is with this staff is the evaluation. I bring up Kejuan Lacey. Now, Kejuan Lacey as a freshman, like Kejuan Lacey didn't go to Ole Miss. He went to Missouri. As a true freshman at Missouri, Kejuan Lacey had like 13 carries on the season as a true freshman. Ole Miss is like, we know what to do with him. Boom, 1,500 yards All-American. Like, am I giving Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin the benefit of the doubt? Yup. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Maybe we all will. But you give that coaching staff this roster budget with these guys? Yeah. They should be a playoff team. All right, it's after further review. Final break. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Lock. Stick around.
AFR.
We are brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Watermark Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property downtown on the corner of 3rd and Convention. Gorgeous hotel. The old Louisiana National Bank building. As a matter of fact, when you go into the basement, like when you walk in the lobby, this is really cool. Sometimes they have that marble staircase roped off. But if you can go downstairs, do it because it's really cool. So you go down, like you walk in the lobby, you see the marble staircase that goes below the building. That's where the old bank vaults were. And they've hollowed out the bank vaults into these really cool meeting rooms. So you want a private dining experience. You want to have a board meeting down there. Such a cool novelty to be able to do something like that. Look, there it is right there if you want to ever go check it out. It's there at Watermark Baton Rouge. Listen, the Gregory, which is the restaurant in the lobby at Watermark Baton Rouge, amazing upscale dining experience. Bar area is awesome as well. Get on downtown and enjoy it. Go see my friends at Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
You, Otter, what up?
All right, little tough loss at the ninth inning last night, cost us a winning night. So 1-3, but we didn't love the card last night, but a lot jumps out at me tonight on this full 15-game night card in MLB. Let's start off Baltimore, New York. No score, bottom of the first. Baz for the Orioles and Rodon for the Yankees. 3 out of 4 for the Orioles at Tampa Bay, and last night they did all they could. Lost double 2-run leads. Alonso and Henderson have been smoking hot. Even money taking the Orioles there. We're going to go to St. Louis, talking about a team that's got a spike. You may have seen Baez on Saturday afternoon in Wrigley Field. Hit his first home run, first pitch he's ever seen in Major League Baseball for a home run. His first 3 at-bats, home runs. First time ever in the history of Major League Baseball. St. Louis was 1 strike away from sweeping the doubleheader yesterday. We're going to take St. Louis with a favorable matchup at Cincinnati minus 112. Detroit and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, it's quite a tailspin. Right? Finally giving Paul Skeens a couple of starts off. So at least try something to try and regain his velocity and spin rate. This game should be more about a pick 'em. Ashcraft was great last time for the Pirates. Complete game for them last time. That's rare in Major League Baseball. Montero, though, has been lights out for Detroit. Detroit swinging the bats better. Pittsburgh, no O'Neal Cruz still. Detroit plus 140. A big price there for the Pirates to lay. Tampa Bay minus 128 with Martinez on the mound against Toronto. That's a favorable matchup there. We're not going to ding them too hard for losing 3 out of 4 to Baltimore at home. A couple of over.
That one, by the way, Jimmy, that's in the bottom of the first. Toronto's already up 2-0. So you can get the Rays right now plus $1.76.
I would still suggest it much better price. So yeah, I would take that one. So that's odd for Martinez to give up a couple of runs in the first inning. A couple of overs to close it out. The closest thing to batting practice is the pitching matchup in Houston tonight. Christian Javier and Hussein. These guys have had a rough go of it. Over 9 with the Astros in the Angels. Bombs away in NASA Town. And then over 11.5, the Dodgers in Colorado. Some said the Dodgers bats were slumping a little bit. Coors Field, that'll do it for you. So not the best pitching, not the best pitchers for these two teams tonight with Lauer and Feltner. Not quite as bad of a pitching matchup in Houston, but both top 6 in scoring, Coors Field. And you know what? For the entire month of July and so far in August, half the time the Rockies play, it's free tacos from Taco Bell.
Hey.
7 runs or more. So free tacos tonight, hopefully, for the Rockies. Dodgers should do their part. Let's go. I love when they show that little graphic at Baytime. 4 more till free tacos.
Make sure you check the in-game prices because a lot of these games are already started. But Baltimore, St. Louis, Detroit, Tampa, and then 2 overs, the Astros Angels and the Dodgers Rockies. Where are you tomorrow?
We are at Snow's Seafood and Steak in Gonzales.
Awesome. All right, Otter, good luck. Thank you.
All right, good luck.
All right, man. As we get on down the road, got to remind you about Hancock Whitney Bank. HancockWhitney.com/Matt. My name, M-A-T-T. HancockWhitney.com/Matt, M-A-T-T. Just keep the bed going. HancockWhitney.com/Matt. You can keep the bed going. Is the website. You want to get it there. Be a card-carrying member, official banking partner of the New Orleans Saints, and the official banking partner of the LSU Tigers. That's Hancock Whitney Bank. More than 180 branches, 220 ATMs across the Gulf Coast. So when you're traveling this football season, following the Tigers or the Saints, and you're here in the Gulf region, you got a Hancock Whitney Bank and ATM near you. Check them out at HancockWhitney.com/Matt to learn more. Find your nearest financial center. Bank with who I bank with. Hancock Whitney. Now you can hit the close out bet. Thank you, Jordan. Muso's back tomorrow. You going to miss me, Jordan? A little bit?
A little bit.
Not really.
I'm here. I work here.
Who's the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, Jordan?
Baker Mayfield.
Jordan Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, my guy. As we get on down the road, remind you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com, Arco.com. This is industrial Generac generator power. You know about standby generators for your home. Arco does standby generators for your business. Grocery stores, gas stations, banks, hospitals, schools, industrial facilities, government, municipalities, everything. Think of it this way. Storm comes, power goes out. What does that mean for your business? If you never want to find out, or if you found out in past storms and you never want to live that again, you need Arco Power Systems. And they're not just in Baton Rouge. Their home base is in Baton Rouge on Airline Highway near I-12. But they service a giant footprint, y'all. North to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio. Draw a giant circle. If you're in that footprint, Arco Power Systems come to you and everything is turnkey. Sell, service, install, rent, industrial Generac generators. Arco.com. It's Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com.